Okay, so in this video we're gonna talk about the truth behind the OnlyFans and every adult industry, the core mechanics, and how it works on a psychological level. So I studied quite a lot of psychology in college, and I studied lots of books about human nature, anything related to psychology, philosophy, sociology, stuff like that. So I wanted to touch on some key aspects that I think are very overlooked in this industry. And about first things, the emotional needs behind every man who goes on a platform like OnlyFans. So basically, as a chatter or as a creator, if you work for an agency, they train you in like patterns, but they are very mechanical somehow. I mean, some stuff, some techniques from their works, but nobody explain why it works or when to apply it and how to apply it to work. It just kind of happens, but nobody really goes in depth to understand the mind of the person behind the screen. So I wanted to touch a little bit on that because I feel it's very important. It's easy to learn a script or to learn how to make an upsell, or even if you have like any background in sales, you pretty much know that how to identify a need and stuff like that. But nobody, as far as I saw and heard, goes in depth. So let's jump straight in about emotional needs. So I wanted to say this thing. Behind every man or in every man mind, yeah, because most of the time you forget that you're chatting with a real person behind the screen. In every guy head there's an emotional need, there is something unfulfilled there. That is the engine that made him come to the platform. So imagine this: if a guy has a perfect life and everything works out smoothly in his life and is going out with a lot of beautiful women and everything is perfect, he wouldn't go to OnlyFans because he wouldn't feel the need. He wouldn't have a gap to fill. So the most important thing for me when I started working as a chatter, and my background in psychology helped me a lot, was identifying the emotional need and the attachment styles and stuff like that. But that is more advanced. Because if you understand like anything in sales, if you understand the need, then you can make an offer based on the need. So if you understand the reason why is he on OnlyFans, what is looking for, because any mediocre chatter, in my opinion, already understand that OnlyFans is not about the content or the porn. That is free on the internet. Everybody can go there and search for stuff, and it's free and fantasy videos and all that stuff. But what OnlyFans sells is access to a real person somehow in his head. He can shape his experience on the go. On porn sites or anything like that, you can't shape your experience. You have to choose. You have to imagine you are there. You aren't involved particularly in the experience like that directly. So that is something that is very crucial in here to understand. So for you to make the most money out of your subscribers, you need to understand the emotional need, right? What made them come to the platform in the first place? Because if you understand that need and you play on it, he will stay loyal to you because he feels understand there, instead of just every other model who's trying to push content, right? And talking, sexing, all that, which is full on OnlyFans, we all know. So some basic needs, some common needs that most men come from are recognition. They need woman validation, right? They need to feel desired and validated by a woman. Intimacy. He doesn't have someone to tell his problems in his real life. He doesn't have someone to talk to, someone he trusts. So he feels the need for connection. And escape, he feels overwhelmed by everyday tasks, everyday burdens, everyday things that happens, problems that happen in each person's life. So he views the platform as an escape from reality. Okay, now I'm gonna talk a little bit about patterns of behavior. High spender versus low spender. Like everything in sales, people spend more money on things they see valuable. If someone complains and say something is expensive or something, I don't know, he means he don't see the value in there. If a guy it's on OnlyFans, he already in his mind
made the commitment that is about to pay, or that he needs what is on the platform. That he admit that from the moment he started engaging with the platform in any way or form, not just curiosity, like let me see what this website is about. Blah, blah. No, he made a commitment in his mind when he started spending there or doing everything there more than just taking a look. So, high spender and low spenders. I kind of hate to talk about and do labels like that because it's superficial parameters for me, like scripts and everything, because they are like I saw some videos with the upselling and stuff and copywriting at the description. I understand that, but it's superficial for me. Why? Because it doesn't treat the individual as an individual. And I agree that on OnlyFans there are a lot of time wasters. There are a lot of not, and you'll be surprised that most time wasters aren't that time wasters. They aren't just approach right. Because if a guy talks to a model and he pushes content to him, and talks to another model and pushes content to him, he kind of gets the idea of how things going on, and he doesn't want to invest in porn. But I'll get more into that another time maybe. Let's get back. High spenders and the low spenders, pattern of behaviors. How this ties into emotional needs. Some guy who so from my experience, a high spenders has two main reasons. But first, let's define what a high spender is. A high spender for me is not someone who just comes on the profile once and buys expensive content to make upsells and that's it. You never see him again, or you kind of catch a guy. A high spender for me is not a guy who has money. A high spender for me, it's a guy who spends a lot of money very frequently. Not just a guy who I think has money or has bought something expensive once. So that is the high spender. And how this ties into emotional need? A high spender spends a lot of money on you frequently because he gets something from you that he doesn't get from somewhere else. That is the reason. And what he gets for you, he fills a gap that he has. And porn isn't porn. Sex isn't just sexual satisfaction. Isn't just the one gap. Because let's be honest, he can go anywhere and have a look at porn and stuff like that. So he feels some kind of emotion towards the model that make him spend a lot of money frequently on her content, or particularly her or custom videos or stuff like that. Low spenders are guys who you failed most probably to identify their how their mind works, or what is their true need. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about micro commitments and FOMO, fear of missing out. This is very powerful in behavior because if you read any clinical psychology book or any serious book about human behavior, and I'm talking because commitment, it's a chapter in a book called Influence by Robert Cialdini, very powerful and interesting book about influence. I suggest you read it. It's gonna help you a lot. It's not commercial book. It's a pretty clinical, pretty technical book. And in there he talks about commitments, the principle of commitment and how it works. If somebody invests a little bit, I'm not talking about financial investment. I'm talking about any kind of investment, emotional, any kind. Uh, he makes a commitment. If I ask you, hey, can you do this little thing for me? Can you bring me a cup of water? That is a micro commitment. If you do that thing for me, in your mind, you are engaged uh, into me somehow. You made a commitment to me. So next time, if I'm asking you for a bigger favor or something else, in your mind and unconsciously, you're gonna tell yourself, "Oh, I already did this for this guy. I must like him. There must be a reason. I can do this." In sales, this is called foot in the door. You ask something or make the lead do something, and if he does that, then you try to sell him or pitch him. For example, let's say you sell, I don't know, uh, laptops. And before you try to tell me you sell a laptop, you ask me something. Do you like? Do you think? What do you think that there can be improved about laptops? And I say something about laptops. I would like for it to be a little bit smaller, or I don't know, something stupid. Uh, and then I'm gonna come and say, oh, but here's the deal. We make laptops, and our laptops are a little bit smaller and stuff like that. He already made a micro commitment when he said he would like laptops to be smaller, and will make much more sense for me to try to sell or do something after he made an engagement somehow, because now if he switch, he's gonna make him look bad. And it's but not really interested right now. This works. It's not 100% guarantee it works, but anyway, I'm getting more into sales detail right now. So, common mistakes by creators. The most common mistake I see chatters do, and people who are involved in this kind of business, because not many people understand that this is a psychological game, not about selling nudes or stuff like that. They focus more on the content. They focus more on the what than the why, or the story around the what. They focus more on the porn side, the sexual side, the horny side that is very full already on OnlyFans. Everyone is sexting, everyone is sending mass messages with sexy stuff in it. They focus very little on the story and the emotional part, the real reason, the core reasons I talked earlier why people are on the platform. So this is a very big mistake for me to focus. Content is just like, how can I describe? Just like the popcorn on a movie. Don't go on the movie for popcorn. Popcorn improves the experience of watching the movie, but somehow, but not about the popcorn. When you go to cinema, to a movie, treating all customers the same. That's why I hate. I hate. That's why I don't like when I see scripts and stuff like and superficial chatting courses. Now you tell this, now you do this, now you send this, and you upsell. You send a picture for $15. Then you wait. You send 10 more messages, and then you upsell. That works. That worked for me, but you need to understand why that works and when to do it and how to do it. Of course, everybody knows you are sexting differently with every kind of guy somehow, but the mindset of the average chatter is still treating everyone the same, sexting, saying stuff, random stuff. Not very few people have the skill of entering the guy head, of understanding him, of making a good profile of the guy. And the stuff which you need some background in psychology and at least some very not harsh life experience. Um, Complex life experience, I would say, with humans and people to understand how to do stuff. And some training in sales, that is a very big mistake I see. Using the same kind of words with the most guys. Imagine different people come from different backgrounds. You need to adjust your way of talking, to adjust your way of talking to their beliefs, but you don't take the time to learn their beliefs and their worldviews. And what you do if you take the time to do that, but they won't open up? Why they don't open up? They are dry. Why they are dry? How do you make them become more open to share powerful insights about themselves that you can use? And they ignore emotional triggers and attachment strategies. As I said, if you don't have a background in psychology, maybe you heard about attachment styles like an anxious, avoidance, secure, chaotic, because this is pretty much common psychology. It's not very in depth. Emotional triggers. Um, in real life or in your life, did you ever learn how to push the buttons of someone, or you learn someone pattern? You know, if you do say certain things or make something specific, you can make someone mad or happy. certain people have certain emotional triggers, certain switches you can turn on and off, and buttons you can push to make them to gain a reaction or make them do something. It's the same way in here. Most creators and most chatters have no clue how to identify the triggers or the buttons of their subscribers, emotional triggers and attachment strategies. They can't tell if the guy is anxious, they can't tell if the guy is avoidant, and how to work with every attachment style to make him attached to the model, because attachment means money, right? If he's attached, he comes in there, and if you know how to talk, he will spend, because he gets something, he go back into emotional need. He gets something fulfilled that he doesn't get from another model, because another model just try to sell sexual stuff, doesn't understand his emotion. And sexual stuff and content comes after he feels emotionally safe somehow, because that is a consequence. Oh, okay, I feel so great with this girl, she understands me, let me buy some content, let me buy some stuff from her, I can't wait to sex with her. Not the other way around, just sex, because if you do that, the crave dies out and he moves on to another body type and another story, another brand, and that's it.